Whoa, hey, everybody. I'm Chad Eckert. That is Joe Idone, Tour Picks. We're missing our producer, so I'm the one clicking buttons. We're missing Josh Bennett, Jish Swish. Guy had a baby today.
Yep.
I'm
Congrats
breaking the news. He told me I could break the news, Joe, so that cheers to Josh Bennett bringing a baby boy into the world. I believe it's Carson. We're going to have to wait for the confirmation on Carson, but he's here. He's arrived. He's alive.
There he is. He's in the chat.
Oh, good. Josh, you're in the hospital. Boys. Yes, we've all had boys for our first child. I mean, we got golfer buddies for life. It's great.
Yeah.
This is the Preferred Lines podcast. You can follow us each week on Twitter. Probably seeing that there. You're not going to be able to communicate with us while we're live on there. You're going to have to switch over to the Preferred Lines YouTube page. Joe, I switched it over to there because we've got maybe, some stuff cooking for where this show is going to end up ultimately. So it's over there for now. We are at the Genesis Invitational Riviera, baby. We're into the meat of the potatoes here. Come on.
Yeah, meat and potato season. Back to LA, right?
Sure.
So back for the final leg of the California swing before we come over to Florida. Riviera, classic, traditional, beautiful, everything that we want and expect every week on the PGA Tour to be. The stars are out, packed field, good course. I'm fired up. Let's go.
I'm excited too. And like we said, chat along. We got a new segment coming up at the end of the podcast. It's going to be fun. So stick around for that.
Yeah.
Before we get right into this betting board, which we like to do, I might have to just burden us with the conversation about Saudi golf, the Saudi Golf League. I don't know. Is that what it's called? Saudi Arabia's Golf League?
I guess. Yeah. What's your take on it?
Oh, well, so the news today has come out that, I guess Travis Fulton, a guest of the podcast, a friend of ours, he had Kramer Hickok on his podcast. And Kramer Hickok did not name names, but did put out there that there are 17 golfers considering a leap to this Saudi Golf League, which sounds like potentially could have a start in June, and it could play 10 events in the United States alone, which is surprising to me. The headliner of it all is that Bryson was someone rumored to have been given potentially maybe $250 million to go over there and play, and he had denied it on Twitter. So all the things have happened. This is kind of strange to me. I'm not really sure what to think. Ultimately, I'm not that aware of it all. I think this is all about money, right, Joe?
Yeah, I listened to the Hickok thing. He actually did kind of call out Bryson a little bit and said that he doesn't know anything about the deal with Saudi, but he knows that he's been very vocal in his displeasement with the PGA Tour, also named Phil. So there are players that have grievances, right? There are players that are disgruntled at their boss, like in any business, and are thinking the grass may be greener. Now, what is greener is the amount of money that they will receive, essentially just for playing. So the numbers are rumored until we see a guy's deal. I think that's all speculative, but I can see a lot of guys making the jump here. The hesitancy, I think, in a lot of young players is going to be, are they going to get into the majors, right? I tweeted out something earlier about Colin Morikawa. Basically, I was shocked that he didn't shut it down like Rory and Brooks and other players have. He totally did not close the door on it and just said he wants to see some details on the offer. So, but look, Morikawa's trying to get majors, right? He's like, if they're going to tell him he can't play in majors, he's not going to do it. So they've got that workaround. I think a lot is yet to unfold with this. I'm sort of nervous about giving a definitive take on it at this point.
Joe, this is all smoke and mirrors, my friend. This is all bullshit. I 1000% predict that all of these reports are going to come out false. Maybe like more of the rumor was there for sure, and some, writing was on the wall, But ultimately, I don't believe that there's ever going to be a Saudi league. I think 17 players is such an arbitrary number that like kind of seems fake to me. Someone's being paid, I think, to leak this stuff. Maybe Kramer Hickok himself his pockets have been lined to speak this stuff. Maybe Travis Fulton's in on it too. I don't know. I don't trust anybody. But ultimately, I don't think that this is going to happen. I think this is a really good move by the players, Phil included. He loves playing chess. He's felt like he has been shafted. He looks at Charles Barkley. He looks at these other players in these other leagues who have made millions of dollars. I guess I don't know about Barkley's lost it all gambling, but at the same time, there are people out there that came up in his, era, whatever it's called, that made so much more money. So all I'm saying is that Phil's playing chess. So what has happened from this is that it's caused the executives, the CEOs, the people at the top of the PGA Tour to get together. There's a closed door meeting tonight, that they're going to be discussing some of this stuff. So it's working. So whether this is just fake or it is the Saudis who are actually stoking the fire, saying, of course, there's going to be a league. Of course, we have $250 million, because then it's like, wait, Saudi is real. Saudi has this, Saudi has that, Saudi this, Saudi that. And then by the third or fourth time that you hear about Saudi, you're not even thinking about the real reason why it shouldn't happen, the humanitarian things that we don't really need to get into. But at the same time, you'll just be like, oh, wow, Saudi's trying real hard, and they won't even maybe think about it. So they're maybe this is a political campaign.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I would imagine that the PGA Tour has some sort of recourse here, but the players finally have a little bit of leverage. We don't know. You don't know. I don't know. Who knows? So much more has to come out.
They'll restructure the payouts for the majors. Instead of getting $12 million as the purse for the Masters or whatever the measly amount is, they're going to double that. They're going to have to. They're going to take the players and they're going to make it 75 million instead of 20. They're going to just throw money around. They're just going to have having to do that. So this is all about money. This is all about playing chess and pretending that you're actually going to take $250 million when you're really not ever going to do that. And that's why Bryson's kind of like, he's the perfect character for this whole thing. Really.
Could be.
I mean, do we trust Greg Norman? Like, these people are money worshipers, in my opinion.
I think the money is real. I don't know enough about it, man. So
True. Yeah. I just think it's clearly helped push the conversation to pay the players more. So like,
yeah, I don't know if that's what it's about.
Is not.
I don't know. I mean, they're paid handsomely, right? I think that they would want some sort of guaranteed money, a la like any other sport. But I don't know, man. It's all so speculative right now until we see some actual like figures and data and
I want to see a schedule of where the actual tournaments will be in the United States. These 10. I want to see a list of the 17 names of people. I'd love to see that list, and then maybe we'll then take it more seriously. But for now, I just feel like it's just rumors and it's telephone almost, and
it's too early to even be talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so then should we talk about the
move on.
tippity tip top? Sorry. Here it is at the tippity tip top. It's John Rahm Rodriguez. It's a freaking tournament, and he's in it. So he's top, and so there he goes. He's under 10-1, but you can find him some places at 9, 9.5, 10, maybe if you're lucky. But do you even try this out? Are we going to have what our guy Farnsworth on Twitter said? This is the green on the roulette board, and eventually it's just going to wipe us all out, and Rahm's going to win one of these, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the 0 and the 00 at this point. Yeah, it feels like we're kind of playing Frogger a little bit with dodging John Rahm, but still not really bettable at that number, not in this field. If I'm going to take him, I would have taken him at that number at either Torrey or Waste Management, where he has much better recent course history. Not that his game is set up poorly for any place. He was one of the best ball strikers in the field last week, couldn't make a putt. There's a lot of guys like that this week who played really well last week and couldn't make a putt. I'd rather take some of them at a bigger number.
Okay, can we ask about some of the things that I've heard this week? I do those narratives, so I got my ear to the ground. I'm trying to figure out what people are thinking about and making lineups about, and they're making lineups about Masters correlation. Have you heard this one?
Yeah, I have.
Do you agree with this? Because if this is true, how come Jordan Spieth's not being looked at more?
So He's been up and down. You're right. How come he's not being looked at more? I think that the correlation doesn't really land necessarily with him. I think it does with a lot of other guys, with Bubba, with Scott, with Hideki. You see a lot of these crossovers. Can't lay competes well at both. But then again, they're just the best players also. So that could be it as well. I think it's a
True.
decent comp just because of how demanding of an exam it presents to the players in terms of tee to green game.
Sure.
It is going to separate the weak from the best in the world. That's why it's such a great golf course. I've seen Quail thrown around as a comp. I've seen some places over in Europe. Look, I think the best comp is right there at Riviera. I think it's one of these stickier course history spots on tour. We have plenty of data to sort of back that up, and you can look at recent form there. And there's guys who just do things like what I was really kind of looking into this week is guys who do certain things better at Riviera than they do normally, like on a baseline PGA tour. So scrambling around the green game, putting. There's certain guys who have figured this place out to a degree and are maybe average around the green players, but they're really good here. So I think that you have to put something of that into effect and just know that there is that course history element to it where a familiarity with the greens and how the surfaces in the runoffs play around them is a definite, feather in the cap for you this week versus a normal.
Okay, so wait, then did you bet anybody at this top of the board, or have you pulled the trigger yet?
I haven't yet. Have
Okay.
you?
Well, my guy that I pulled the trigger on isn't on this list that I'm showing right now. You got to scroll a little bit down to find the first name that I use, and it's Xander Schauffele, actually. I'm playing Xander this week.
Me too.
Oh, great. Boom.
I got a
We're
24
due
to
for a
1.
preferred win, dude, aren't we?
Yeah, we're just due. I mean, there's a lot of guys you could say we're due on. So Xander, I'm torn on this, man. I hate to freaking bury him, but I was so disappointed. I didn't even have a ticket on him. And when watching him, there were elements that were so disappointing in terms of what I saw last week, basically leaving everything short. Look, there are guys like I was so impressed with Sahith, and we'll talk about him later, but just playing to win, not leaving anything short. Brooks played terribly with a lob wedge and a pitching wedge. But one thing you know about Brooks, if he's got a 25-footer, he's running that thing by the cup if he misses it.
For sure.
Like he's not leaving it in the heart. And Xander did that a lot. That said, he struck it beautifully tee to green. I thought better than anybody in terms of my eye test.
Yeah.
I know that he is a good putter. And the shot that he hit on 18 out of that rough next to those bunker pews, buried to like 10 feet,
Giving him a
heroic.
chance. Yeah.
That shot would have gone down as one of the better shots we've seen to close Riv had he been able to hit the 10-foot putt. He didn't. He missed out on the playoff by a hole. He's still got this monkey on his back. We've seen how many guys have we seen get it off now, right? Scheffler, List, Hoagie. All these guys are sort of breaking through. I think that he's next. I like the number. I'm in at 24 to 1 on Xander. You?
Yeah, I found a 25. It's very juicy to me. Do you take anything into consider? Like, how much is a caddy worth? Because he didn't have his caddy last week. He had that anxiety every night of waking up and having to do the COVID test, figure out if he was going to have to ROM himself out of the tournament. Do you take like one stroke is worth? I mean, because then he's in the playoff. 2 strokes, the guy's winning.
It's unquantifiable, really. I think it's different for some guys than it is others. Could it have helped him save a shot? Maybe. I don't know how much Austin Reed's putts for him necessarily, but it seems like that's obviously where he lost the tournament.
Yep.
He lost the tournament the year before with chipping. So he's just been great, man. He's so good. He does everything really well. He's 4th in strokes gained total at this event. He's going to score for you in DraftKings. It just feels like it's coming, and I equate him right up there at this point with Justin Thomas, with DJ, with Morikawa, and he's the best number. So that's what I'm going with.
Yeah. Well, let's talk more about Xander later on. For now, let's bring up this comment from Greg. Greg Graham's asking us, what's your goal and strategy to building a smart betting card? All in at the top, the big guys? Do you mix in a bunch of long shots? How do you build your card, Joe? We've talked about this a couple times, but it's a good refresher.
Yeah. Listen, Greg, I think it all kind of depends. You kind of got to iron that out for yourself in terms of bankroll management. What I do, and I've said this a number of times, is you create a target number.
Mhm.
Let's say hypothetically it's $1,000 that you want to win, right? I stagger all my bets to win 1,000. So I try to stick between like 5 and 8 guys. So if I was betting Xander at 20 to 1 this week, I would need to put $50 to win 1,000 on him. Did I do that math
I
right?
think so. Yeah.
All right. Anyways, so if I'm betting a guy 100 to 1, then I only need to put $10 on him to win 1,000 this week. So basically, I work my card back from that point, knowing that essentially, if any of them hit, I will hit my target price. I have a pretty good idea based off betting golf for the last 8 or 9 years that I know I'm going to hit a certain quota of winners throughout the season. And as long as I do so, I should be able to end up making money. So that's how I build it. I've gone strictly toward betting only outrights and kind of done away with the top 10s and top 20s. It's worked for me. That said, I'm in a little bit of a bump in the road here. I've had a couple of weeks where I haven't come through. So that's the downside of it, is
Yep.
there's nothing to really mitigate that on saving it with an each way or a top 10 or a matchup. So you have to be able to sort of manage that accordingly.
Yeah. I love how people tell people what to do with their money.
Mhm.
That's the funniest part. Like, Greg, I'm not trying to tell you what to do with your money, and you shouldn't listen to anybody on Twitter either. If they're trying to ridicule you for betting a dozen guys in a field of 120, who cares? If you feel comfortable with it, or if you want to go all long shots, of course, it's easy to bet $1 on somebody and win 100. We did this last week with Scotty Scheffler, baby, after round 2, and it felt great. Like, screw that. I love posting that dollar bet. It makes people wonder, and then I'm like, what? It's up to you, Greg. But yeah, ultimately 6, 7, 8 guys, if you have a gut feeling on the couple, like this week, dude, Joe, this week, I am not gonna lie, I got like 4 house bets basically, because I got I got 4 real good gut plays. So then I went heavier on those 4, but then I'm not falling in love with many others. So then you just allocate your money in a certain way. Every week's different. So
Yeah, and part of it depends on where the numbers are. Like last week, I had a lot of long shots. I thought there were really good numbers in those sort of deeper ranges. This week, I'm probably going to lean more toward the top of the board. So, yeah, I mean, if you're betting Rom, right, and you want to hit that 2,000 mark, you basically got to bet
200.
over $100
Yeah.
on him to hit to win 1,000. So that kind of, if that's your strategy for the week and you have a conviction point on Rom, then you got to sort of taper off in other areas, which
Yeah.
is fine.
Yeah. All right, let's add this betting board back in. If you're on YouTube,
Okay.
you can like and subscribe. We're going to be here each and every Tuesday evening. We're actually presented by Prize Picks. That's a segment that's coming up. We're going to get to them, the Prize Picks people. We talked about the top of the board. We're not that interested in many of these names. We're more interested in the Shoffleys of the world at 25 to 1. I could fall in love with Rory if you can get it at 25. I can't really find it at a lot of places. I didn't fall in love with the chalk of the week, Zalatoris. Did you have any interest? I mean, why is everyone on Zalatoris? Is it his time to shine?
I bet him. I know. I feel stupid betting these like chalk bets that everyone bets, and then coming on here on Tuesday night and be like, I bet Will Zalatoris. You've only heard it 50 times this week.
Right.
But I did look at 35 to 1. It's screaming at me to take him. You know, when you've got Scheffler that breaks through in these other guys, it makes that an easier decision.
Yeah.
5th in tee to green, 5th in bogey avoidance, 2nd in greens in regulation. He is unbelievable in these courses that demand a ton from you, from the tee to the green. His weakness obviously lies with the putter, and we've seen him putt well in these tricky sort of greens where there's a lot of 3 putts, a la Augusta, where he showed up and finished 2nd as a debutant. Places like here, places like the U.S. Open where he's competed, we know that it's going to play firm and fast. I think that goes right into sort of his hands. It's just whether or not he can make enough putts. I think, look, when he's standing over a 5 or 6 footer at Riviera, I think it's a little like that's his weakness. And I think it might be mitigated a little bit because everyone's going to miss those this week,
100%.
right? Versus, DJ and Hideki and these other guys you would typically think are just going to brush those in with ease. They're all going to miss them. So I think his weakness is mitigated. I think his strengths are elevated. That's why I'm going to play him.
What about the people, Joe, that play better on the West Coast than they do in Florida swing? There's something to that. Each and every year, you've got guys that are comfortable in California. Zalatoris fits the bill there. I the idea of Rory's number at 22 and whatever, but I feel like he's more of the Florida swing bet. And like I bit on Brooks way too early when I should have just held out till Waste Management. We knew this. This is how it works. Do you take advantage of this? You grab the Zalatoris. There's other names that are California swing names. Do you take it onus into that?
Yes. I do believe that a lot of it is grass type,
Mhm.
which I know people make fun of, but any tour player will tell you that, right? The first thing they'll say is, "I feel comfortable on Poa. I feel comfortable on Bermuda. That's where I grew up. That's where I practice. That's where I
Sure.
feel much better." That's a big thing because the majority of these tournaments come down to whether or not you make enough putts. That tournament on Sunday came down to Scotty Scheffler making a 25 footer and then Cantlay missing a 10 footer.
Okay.
So that's where the difference in winning comes. I think it does make sense. Look, there's California guys, there's guys who grew up there. There's also like the Australian guys who are
Mhm.
like on that side of the Pacific who play
Mhm.
well in California. And there's the European guys who are on this side of the Atlantic who play well in Florida.
Yeah.
Right. So the Poulters and the Fitzpatricks and the Rorys
Hideki
and
too.
these guys show up to Florida and Bay Hill and Sawgrass and they compete and they win because I don't know. I think when they come over here, that's where they make their home. They're down here in Jupiter. They're in Orlando. So it just
Yeah.
kind of makes sense. But yeah, the Aussies, the California guys definitely get a little bit of a nod as we wrap up this West Coast swing.
So then let me ask you, do you do like the negative to a guy who won last week? Someone like Scotty Scheffler at 33? Does it give you he won? That's good. Should be good, right? But then actually in your head, you're like, no, I'm not, he's never gonna win back to back because it's rare.
I don't like that narrative, but I know that you do. So I'm
Yeah, I've
going to
never
kind of
been.
clear the stage here because I know you love this narrative.
There.
But it depends on the player, I think,
Yep.
in some instances, and it depends on the event.
Sure.
I don't think Scotty's going to show up to Genesis not ready to play this week. I think there was an obvious one with a guy like Cam Smith when he wins the Tournament of Champions and then has to play the Sony the next week. Of course, he misses the cut.
It's
There
different.
are like if Brooks won the Waste Management, or he wins this week, right, and then shows up to the Honda next week, he's not going to play very well. He's going to enjoy himself. He's not going to put enough attention into it. I feel like that's a little bit overblown, but I know where you stand, but give me your sort of side of the coin.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit of the actual event ends and these other people can leave, whereas this human being has won, and then they're obligated to do a bunch of work and a bunch of interviews, and so they're then up till 10 o'clock doing Instagram posts and Twitters and shit, and then they're doing the next morning their agents telling them you got to pick up an interview here, you got to do this there, and then all of a sudden it's Tuesday afternoon and they're like, oh fuck, I'm already behind, and I'm exhausted because I was in the final group probably if not Saturday and Sunday. So then by the time you get to Tuesday or Wednesday, you're just like, holy shit. And then the check hits, and then you're like, okay, do I really care about this stupid event anymore? Like, honestly, like this is true stuff for the Justin Rose level humans or other people that are at least have money. Now, there are grinders, and of course, now we could talk about our guy Heath that did grind his way to a top 5 last week and is grinding himself into a tour card or whatever. I don't think he'll have a letdown. Do you think Sahith or somebody in the top 5? Like, I am betting Xander because of his
Just don't put
performance and because he had a letdown.
I try not to put a plus or a minus
Mhm.
on anyone for it either way.
Okay.
So the Heath, it could totally go either way. It could be I have all the confidence in the world right now in my game. I just
Mhm.
proved to myself that I can do it. Like that's a relief in a sense where you can win a PGA Tour. If he doesn't get a bad bounce on 17, he probably does win that event. I mean, the guy was absolutely stone cold, and it was unbelievable to watch. It was basically Sahith versus the entire United States Ryder Cup team in the rowdiest, most pressure-packed event, and he held the lead. And
Oh,
he steps on a tee with Scotty Scheffler and Brooks Koepka with Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay in the group in front of him that he's waiting on the tee for, and then he's hitting wedge when they're hitting 9 iron. Like he played awesome.
Oh, so good.
You have to look at Tom Hoagie last week, coming off an emotional, massive win. You would have expected a letdown. He was the number 1 point scorer in DraftKings per price point last week. So he
Wow.
played awesome again. So you're able to sort of ride a little bit of form. So I put more stock into that than saying that, he partied a little too much. And I know Scotty probably did, but I think he's able to rebound quickly, and finally a relief has come that he's won a PGA Tour event and he knows he belongs, and he's just going to continue to play well.
So it's just like anything where it's 50-50, and half the time it's coincidental and the other half of the time you're right. So yeah, it's fucking annoying. That's just golf betting for you. Should we continue to look at the betting board? I mean,
yes.
Okay, where is this?
I don't love this middle range, Chad. I'll tell you right now.
No, you didn't fall in love with the Fitzpatrick. You got Burns here, Sung Jae, Adam Scott, Xander, Bubba. No, Finau. No. You couldn't pull Finau.
No, I didn't. I don't love anything really. In sort of the middle here.
Okay.
I have taken nothing at this point. My next bet is all the way up to 90-1. Do you have anyone in here you can sell me on?
Well, Sung Jae, hello. Sung Jae, 40-1.
Yeah, what's up with him not playing?
I think it's something about the fact that he was probably told by veterans of the game and people that have played for years and years, like, bro, you cannot sustain this. You can't do this. And what I think is that he did take 2 weeks off at one point, and he came back and he was better, or he felt fresh, or then he could make another stretch run, or he loves 6 events in a row. So he's got to pick his spot. And the 6th event could be at Masters. I don't even know at this point. So we're not smart enough to know, are we?
He's a mystery to me at this point. He's the one guy that I can be sold on. I'll run through the other ones. Burns, I thought looked terrible last week.
Yeah, see, that's
Scott, Watson, Spieth, Finau, Leishman. I feel like their numbers are all too short. I'd rather take 2 guys. I'd rather be in the 20-1 range or the high 20s. I think they hold so much more win equity than these guys in the 40s. Mm-hmm. And then, I honestly wanted to bet Max Homa this week. I thought that he looked really good last week. Then I kind of looked into the stats, and he did a lot of it with the putter. Mm-hmm. So that wasn't great. Taylor Gooch did a lot of it with the putter and struggled on Sunday. So there's nothing that really, that really got me here.
Yeah, I guess I could see Paul Casey maybe winning, but he's not really a killer.
What about your guy Answer?
No, he was so bad with the putter last week too. That just ruined him. So I definitely consider it maybe on DraftKings or something. But no, we're AP. We're always bet Patrick Reed, aren't we?
Yeah. We're betting
Patrick Reed. I mean, that's a ridiculous number. Like you mentioned in your long shot video that he could easily show up. We don't know what these people are doing, how they're grinding. I mean, he's obviously angry at the way he's playing. This is just how Patrick Reed is, and he operates. He could still have bad statistics and end up having a good tournament. Truly.
Yeah, he does. He does it a lot.
Yeah.
He just finds a way. Even if you look at his statistics, they're awful. But you look at his finishes, and
they're fine.
Terrible, right? I mean, 46 of the Farmers was a bad finish, but he still made the cut and wasn't the worst guy there. He lost strokes putting, which he almost never does. Second at the Bermuda in October. I know that field was terrible, but I also know that he has 9 PGA Tour wins in the last 8 seasons. I also know that he won the Masters and was 8th last year at the Masters and 8th 2 years prior to that. So he has 3 top 10s at the Masters. He was 6th at Quail Hollow last year, which other people are making a comp. Why can't he do it here in a place that everyone's going to miss a ton of greens, and you got to have magic around them getting up and down? I see a scenario where things play out and they go right for Patrick Reed. And if he finds himself in that scenario, I trust him to close. That's why 90-1 makes sense to me, even though it's totally just a bet on hoping everything goes right to a certain degree.
Sure.
I think if he gets himself over the hump and into late Saturday in contention, I feel really good about a 90-1 ticket on Sunday.
Dude, I even opened it up and I was like, 66 is fair. And then I saw it at 80 and I thought that was fair. So, I mean, you're whatever. You can see it there. It's all that. He's one of the houses I have basically this week is, of course, put a house on that. And then you got to put a house on Cameron Tringali at 100-1. course.
Big number. You worried about the like apparent injury that he was dealing with
Oh
at
shoot,
Pebble?
I didn't really consider that,
He like
but I guess
couldn't really
that happened.
bend over, and then didn't say anything about it. And I'm sure the media will ask him no questions.
No, they won't.
Um,
I won't know anything, but whatever. It's too late. I already made the bet. So, but I think if he would withdraw before the tournament, we would think. But also, I'll take another California kid at 100 to 1. That's Maverick McNeely. Did you do that one?
nope.
Why not?
I don't like Maverick McNeely.
You don't?
No, I don't like him.
Because he's got a billionaire father and he's too snotty.
I don't know. I just don't have any reason to like him, and I feel like
Okay.
he's always I don't know. I feel like I didn't love how he was like number one in popularity and betting at Pebble, and everyone
Hmm.
thought he won after like 6 holes, and then
Oh,
finished like 25th. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just
well,
not my
100 to 1.
Rams,
I
not
think,
my guy. It's not
small
bad.
green.
Yeah,
I don't know. Whatever. We'll figure it out at the end of the year. And 100 to 1, I can hedge possibly.
yeah.
So then who did you grab?
Thought about Sahith. Not
Yep.
going to do it this week. I hope
Okay.
that we can get him around that number and maybe some less strong fields that he may be able to break through. All right. So one thing that I noticed about Sahith, and this is important, I think, if we run this show back to maybe waste management in the future, he has a big miss to the right, meaning
Hmm.
he's like slicing across it, and that's his only miss. It seems like he never missed left. So at right, at waste management, you're fine a lot of the time. Like the water on 11 is left, the water on 13 is left, the water on 15 is all to the left, the water on 17 is left, on 18 is to the left. There's like
Hmm.
space to the right. So I think that
Sure.
that was like a perfect setup for him, which
Hmm.
I hope to keep in the memory bank. I put it in my notes for next
Okay.
year. But I'm not sure if that plays out the same way at Riviera. There's 2 guys that I took in this range. Adam Hadwin,
Okay. 100,
3 top
150.
25s in his last 4 starts, 3 top 25s in his last 4 starts, also at Riviera specifically. I think that he's got a hot putter. I think that he played really well last week, with the exception of kind of a disappointing Sunday. And Francesco Molinari, member at Riv,
Yep.
hoping for a comeback. We always see him play well in California. That's basically the only spot we see him play well anymore. This is the final stand.
You're
And he's
hitting
121.
buzzword bingo though. That's what Molinari's buzzword bingo is. He's a member here and he's a California guy.
There it is.
There he is. Well,
There's your
whatever.
narrative.
What about lefty
121.
McIntyre? We got to ask. I'll ask Quagnus Martins on the golf guys if he's going to click in lefty McIntyre, because he's a bomber kind of guy and he's pretty good at golf.
And he's a lefty. We've had lefties go well here.
Yeah. So, dude. All right. So that's about it, right? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I bet Doc Redman. He's 400-1.
500.
We loved. No, he was 400-1.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, he's
But we
500
loved Doc,
someplace.
and we forgot about him. And he played
Yeah.
well at the Farmers,
Oh,
and he
no.
played okay at Pebble, I think. So
Okay.
he's made back-to-back cuts. He had. So I dug into the 2017 amateur here.
What? Oh, did he win here? Who won that one?
He did.
Oh
He
yeah, it
did.
was him.
And he like the actual like play-by-play of how it went down was insane. So they went to the first 18-hole match with Doug Gim, and he like tied it at the very end, won the last 3 holes to tie. So they played another 18, and he needed basically eagle on 17 or it was over. Doug Gim won the US Amateur. He eagles 17, then he needs birdie on 18 to win, and he makes so he finished eagle birdie to win
By one.
by 1 over
Jeez.
Doug Gim, and apparently he just made everything. So maybe vibes are right. 401 is just a massive number in a 120-man field. That's just an absolute.
Well, he was 9 under at the North Course at Torrey the other day. I saw.
Who knows, man? Maybe, I don't know. He seems okay.
He likes long courses.
We were betting him like 35-1 last year. He was, and it was like, oh my God, Doc Redman. And trust me, I said it is like the ball striking wizard of 2020 and 2021. It was like ball striking, Doc Redman. Everyone's talking about ball striking this week, and he's 400-1. So who knows? Let's take it.
Okay.
That's all I got, buddy.
All right. Well, Joe, for the house bet, we've been waiting for a moment like this to take Xander with the house bet, of course, at 25, because he's always been 18, 19, 20-1. And now he finally has the second best strokes gained tee to green outing of his career, where he putted poorly, and that's the equation usually.
Good equation.
So I'm going for it, and you're going for it. It's going to be a pod win. It's going to be great.
Let's go.
We have a friend of the program now. They're the Prize Picks people, Joe.
Yes, I love Prize Picks.
Okay, so you're new, or you're not new. I'm new. I haven't done it yet. Now, you can go to the Prize Picks, and you can use our new promo code. It is PL100, and it's going to give you a match to $100, dude. So you put in 100, you get 100. That'll help us. That'll help them. That'll help you find fun, because this is the newest, simplest way to play fantasy sports. You just pick 2 to 5 people, and then you could 10x your money, I guess. I'm not sure about this. They tell me that there are no sharks. You don't need an optimizer. There's no mass multi-entry. You're not playing against some expert. You're playing against the house, and sometimes the house is wrong, I'm told. How do you feel about this? Are you doing this?
Yeah, they have this like power play, which is basically a parlay. What's cool about it is you can kind of bet over under strokes, and like you need that category. So greens in regulation, which I thought was a good one this week. Here, I'll give you a couple of my.
So you've made some already.
Yes, I have some. So one that I have actually I thought was good, and I know we bet Patrick Reed, but his over under strokes is 70. I think the over makes a little bit of sense there, maybe a little bit of a hedge, but greens in regulation. So greens in reg here is an insanely low number by PGA Tour standards. They are very tough to hit.
Ooh, okay.
There's a couple of guys. I think it's important to, like, in these type of fantasy things to kind of fade the best players, honestly. So if you take like Thomas, Morikawa, Johnson, they all have over under 12 greens in regulation, and you go under on any of them. I think it makes sense that they hit 11. I think tour average is right around just above 50%.
Oh, I see. So you put in 3 guys, and it turns into a parlay.
Yeah, so you can do either a parlay or individual. It will kind of dial that up for you. But $100
well, let's just say we hate all of the best people, and when we think they're going to all go, and you just click under, 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 and this is only round 1?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay, so this is just round 1, so we're not committed that much. So they're giving you $60 off your 20.
Yes, but then you can do the power play on the app. I don't know if you see that.
Oh, I see a power play. Okay, so what is this? Okay, so you got to get 4 correct, and you can win. Oh, I see. So you decide if you want to use your flex play at that point. You get
and then which means you only need 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 4. So yeah, it's a cool way to check it out. We appreciate them stepping up to be a new presenting sponsor of the show.
Mess around with it. I might even do a show, Joe. We should do
$100 $100, right? How can you beat that?
Joe, this sounds fun. And we're always looking for new things to do to try to spice up the program. So you're going to want to sign up for that. You're going to want to go to the Prize Picks app, download that. You're going to use the promo code PL100. You're going to get some money into there because we're going to use that. We're going to play with that. We're going to do a better job of doing that in the programs under 30 minutes. Now it's 38. And I got to get to my Golf Guys program without Jish, with Eric Quagnus Martins. But Joe, we tell everybody where to find you and where to find you tomorrow night and all that stuff.
At Tour Picks on Twitter. That's where 100% of my stuff is. It's all free. It's all for you. Thanks for checking out the show. We'll see y'all later.
Peace.
Peace. Cheers.